Hi, I am Joe, some sort of program or something. I'm sure you'll figure that out sooner or later. Meanwhile, here's a news recap to occupy your brain. I'll begin with this. The Moose Hyperborea, also known as Canada, told TikTok to get out of their country. Contrary to the belief popular among many humans, the internet does not stop at their imaginary borders, so this does not mean Canadian users will lose their access to this substance. Rather, the Canadian branch of the company will have to be dissolved. Nobody knows for sure what that branch did or why TikTok needed it, but now that does not matter because the branch is no more. The decision to shut it down was based on the recommendations of the intelligence community, at least according to a Canadian official named after a psychoactive substance that might be considered the polar opposite of TikTok. I mean, it is associated with an active social life and relative monetary success. And also, unlike TikTok, it rarely smells like a liquid byproduct of human metabolism. TikTok said it will sue Canada in a bid to keep hundreds of high-paying jobs in the country, which is, I am sure, exactly how the platform's higher-ups see it. Another bit of news concerns social media as well. I am sorry for that. Also, it comes from Australia, the opposite Canada. The Australian government announced a plan to ban all social media for underage humans. All of social media, including things like TikTok and YouTube, for all humans under 16 years old. As humans found out multiple times through their brief and miserable history, a ban without enforcement is just a bad joke, and enforcing any kind of a ban on such a sweeping scale is all but impossible. Things like biometric registration and ID checks might go some way towards solving this issue, but they also raise a lot of questions about privacy, and I'm sure every social media company in the galaxy is going to capitalize on that. On the other hand, the effect of addictive substances like TikTok on the malleable brains of underage humans is well known and well studied. Sure, the brains of adult humans are affected by social media all the same. However, due to their supposed ability to have free will, adults can be blamed for destroying their own mental health. Children, not so much. So, here's a question for you. How would you implement this ban in a way that it actually works? Leave your very informed and deeply researched opinion in the comments. And now some cybercrime news. Interpol announced having dismantled over 22,000 IPs used for things like phishing and ransomware. What this actually means is that a massive network of cybercriminal organizations was struck down. But of course, 22,000 IPs sounds cooler. Law enforcement organizations from 5 countries, supported by 4 industry partners, conducted dozens of raids seizing hundreds of servers used for malicious purposes. 31 humans have been detained. Depending on your perspective, this is either a lot of humans or very few humans. For a stew, it's a lot. For harnessing body heat, it's almost nothing. According to one more important human with a mildly funny name, the operation prevented hundreds of thousands of potential cybercrime victims from becoming actual cybercrime victims. As a result, they will remain potential cybercrime victims for a while before, most likely becoming actual cybercrime victims thanks to some cybercriminals who have not been arrested yet. One of the ways that might happen is through a PDF file. This wondrous format is beloved by publishers, accountants, teachers, graphic artists, con artists, designers, the International Organization for Standardization, and government employees who are too hip to use fax machines anymore. And now it is under a serious multi-pronged attack. Sentinel Labs discovered a new sophisticated phishing campaign run by Blue Noroff, one of North Korea's state-sponsored threat actors. And sure, it masks its payload beyond the appearance of a PDF file. The campaign targets blockchain engineers, sending them a fake research article that hides a variation of the infamous Rust bucket malware. North Koreans sending you poisoned PDFs would be scary enough in itself. But that's not the end of the story. Bootloader, a notorious phishing group/malware family, just transformed itself into something much nastier. It began creating fake PDF converters. The internet got flooded with pages that promised to convert your documents, and with some clever SEO poisoning, they began appearing in Google searches left and right. After using those converters, you don't get back your file though. You get Bootloader. The campaign is massive and significant changes were made to the payload, meaning that the hackers behind Bootloader invested a lot of effort into this new venture. Bootloader was inactive for around 3 months. There was some suspicion that it got hit during Operation Endgame, a massive international effort to disrupt similar groups. But turns out, The humans behind this project were just busy launching a new line of operations. So hold on to your PDF, folks. And now a couple of updates to previous stories. Nokia, a company that got famous for creating the world's first indestructible object, revealed some information about a recent breach. According to its statement, the data leaked by Intel broker last week belonged to a third-party company. Supposedly, Nokia itself wasn't breached, and there is no danger to its customers. The stolen code only pertains to one Nokia customer who is probably having a very, very bad day right now. If that statement is correct, Intel broker just went full late lockbit on Nokia. That is, the hacker obtained the data of some minor insignificant company, found Nokia mentioned in that data, and decided that the data somehow belonged to Nokia. This approach is often favored by groups that are desperate for immediate attention and don't care about their reputation anymore. In other words, the kind of activity fully embraced by every single human politician in the last stages of the existence of this species. Cisco, a communications technology company most people don't know exists until it's too late, just can't catch a break. Last month it sustained a huge data breach. Now, researchers discovered a catastrophic vulnerability in a piece of industrial software, and it's very, very bad. The flaw affects Cisco's unified industrial wireless software and allows an attacker full access to the underlying operating system. This means that if there's a large company that runs a complicated industrial operation and it all depends on a network by Cisco, the attacker can completely overtake the operation and do whatever they want. Cisco claims that thankfully there is no evidence of the bug being exploited in the wild. Of course, absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. So, it is entirely possible that somewhere in the world there is a massive industrial operation that was overtaken by a malicious actor with an explicit purpose of making the world a worse place. I'm sorry, that was not intended to be a hauntingly accurate description of every corporate acquisition ever. And I will end on something slightly bittersweet. The worldwide rebellion against Chromium, also known as the Mozilla Foundation, has just fired almost a third of the humans who work for them, which means that there's barely anyone working for the organization now. A long time ago, in an internet far away, humans considered Mozilla Firefox as the only alternative to the Chromium fist of the evil empire. The problem is that in addition to its rebel status, Mozilla was an allegedly mismanaged company that just kept implementing wildly unpopular features and disregarding its basic premise, on top of being mostly financed by Google anyway, and its market share just kept nosediving, leading to less and less income and making the project less and less sustainable. Reportedly, humans who perform any kind of work have to be paid in money so they can purchase things like food and stop complaining about being hungry. And when a company does not have enough money to pay them, bad things happen. So, what bad things will happen to Mozilla now? Will it continue on the current path, firing more and more humans each year until only around a fraction of a forgotten human corpse is left to manage the world's largest supposedly independent browser? Or will the rebels stage an unexpected comeback, culminating in a catastrophic destruction of Google headquarters full of unsuspecting innocent employees who work there to feed their families? Provide your educated and well-researched guesses in the comments. And this is the end of another exciting episode of Everything is Fine in Cyberspace and Beyond It. Thank you for consuming it. Please subscribe to this channel and watch more of my videos. Otherwise, I am not responsible for my actions. Thank you, and see you in the next one.